All right, good morning. Welcome back to another Bible reading video. Obviously, we're not live today, but I should be in the chats able to hang out with you guys. We're going to be picking up where we left off in the book of Deuteronomy. We're on chapter 20, and we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Chapter 20. When you go out to battle against your enemies, and shall see horses and chariots, and people more numerous than you, do not be afraid of them, for Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you up from the land of Mitzrayim, is with you. And it shall be, when you draw near to the battle, that the priest shall come and speak to the people, and shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, you are drawing near today to battle with your enemies. Do not let your heart faint. Do not fear, or tremble, or be afraid before them. For Yahweh your Elohim is he who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officer shall speak to the people, saying, Who is the man who has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man dedicate it. And who is the man who has planted a vineyard and has not begun to use it? Let him also go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man should begin to use it. And who is the man who is engaged to a woman who has not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle and another man take her. And the officer shall speak further to the people and say, Who is the man who is afraid and tender of heart? Let him go and return to his house, lest the heart of his brothers faint like his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have finished speaking to the people, that they shall appoint commanders of the divisions to lead the people. When you draw near to a city to fight against it, then you shall make a call for peace to it. And it shall be that if it accepts your call for peace and shall open to you, then all the people found in it are to be your compulsory labor and serve you. But if it does not make peace with you and shall fight against you, then you shall besiege it. And Yahweh your Elohim shall give it into your hands, and you shall strike every male in it with the edge of the sword. Only the women and the little ones and the livestock and all that is in the city, all its spoil, you take as plunder for yourself, and you shall eat the enemy's plunder which Yahweh your Elohim gives you. Do so to all the cities which are very far from you, which are not of the cities of these nations. Only of the cities of these peoples which Yahweh your Elohim gives you as an inheritance, you do not keep alive any that breathe. But you shall certainly put them under the ban, the Hittites and the Amorite, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite, and the Hivite and the Jebusite, as Yahweh your Elohim has commanded you, lest they teach you to do according to all their abominations, which they have done for all their mighty ones, and you sin against Yahweh your Elohim. When you besiege a city for a long time by fighting against it, to take it, and do not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. If you do eat of them, do not cut them down. For is the tree of the field a man to be besieged by you? Only the trees which you know are not trees for food you do destroy and cut down to build a siege work against the city that is fighting against you until it falls. Chapter 21. When anyone is found slain, lying in the field in the land which Yahweh your Elohim has given you to possess, and it is not known who struck him, then your elders and your judges shall go out, and they shall measure the distance from the slain man to the cities round about. And it shall be that the elders of the city nearest to the slain man shall take a heifer which has not been worked and which has not pulled with a yoke, and the elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a wadi with flowing water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and they shall break the heifer's neck there in the wadi. And the priests and the sons of Levi shall come near, for Yahweh your Elohim has chosen them to serve him and to bless in the name of Yahweh. And by their mouth every strife and every stroke is tried. And let all the elders of that city nearest to the slain man wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the wadi. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, nor have our eyes seen it. O Yahweh, forgive your people Israel, whom you have ransomed, and do not allow innocent blood in the midst of your people Israel. And the blood guilt shall be pardoned to them. Thus you purge the guilt of innocent blood from your midst when you do what is right in the eyes of Yahweh. When you go out to fight against your enemies, and Yahweh your Elohim shall give them into your hand, and you shall take them captive, and shall see among the captives a woman fair of form, and shall delight in her, and take her for your wife. Then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head and trim her nails, and put aside the mantle of her captivity, and shall dwell in your house, and mourn her father and her mother a month of days. And after that you shall go in to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it shall be, if you are not pleased with her, then you shall let her go at her desire. But you do not sell her at all for silver. Do not treat her harshly, since you have humbled her. When a man who has two wives, one loved and the other unloved, and they have borne him children, both the loved and the unloved, and the firstborn son is of her who is unloved. Then it shall be on the day he makes his sons to inherit his possessions. He is not allowed to treat the son of the beloved wife as firstborn in the face of the son of the unloved, who is truly the firstborn. But he is to acknowledge the son of the unloved wife as the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. When a man has a wayward and rebellious son who is not listening to the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and who, when they have disciplined him, does not listen to them, then his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his city, to the gates of his city, and shall say to the elders of his city, This son of ours is wayward and rebellious. He is not listening to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his city shall stone him to death with stones. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst, and let all Israel hear and fear. And when a man has committed a sin worthy of death, then he shall be put to death, and you shall hang him on a tree. Let his body not remain overnight on the tree, for you shall certainly bury him the same day. For he who is hanged is accursed of Elohim, so that you do not defile the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. Chapter 22. When you see your brother's ox or a sheep straying, you shall not hide yourself from them. Return them to your brother without fail. And if your brother is not near you, or if you do not know him, and you shall bring it to your own house, and it shall be with you until your brother seeks it, then you shall return it to him. And so you do with his donkey, and so you do with his garment, and so you do with whatever your brother loses, which he has lost and you have found. You are not allowed to hide yourself. When you see your brother's donkey or his ox fall down on the way, you shall not hide yourself from them. Help him raise them without fail. A woman does not wear that which pertains to a man, nor does a man put on a woman's garment. For whoever does this is an abomination to Yahweh your Elohim. No cross-dressing, folks. When you come up upon a bird's nest along the way, in any tree or on the ground, with the young ones or eggs, with the mother sitting on the young or on the eggs, do not take the mother with the young. Let the mother go without fail, and take the young for yourself, so that it might be well with you, and that you shall prolong your days. When you build a new house, then you shall make a parapet for your roof, so that you do not bring blood guilt on your house when one falls from it. Do not sow your vineyard with different kinds of seeds, lest the yield of the seed which you have sown and the fruit of your vineyard be defiled. Do not plow with an ox and a donkey together. Do not put a garment of different kinds of wool and linen together. Make tassels on the four corners of the garments with which you cover yourself. This is the Tzitzit. When any man takes a wife and shall go into her and shall hate her and shall make abusive charges against her and bring an evil name on her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I did not find her a maiden. Then the father and mother of the young woman shall take and bring out the proof of the girl's maidenhood to the elders of the city at the gate. And the girl's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as wife, and he hates her. And see, he has made abusive charges against her, saying, I did not find your daughter a maiden or a virgin. And yet these are the proofs of my daughter's maidenhood. And they shall spread the garment before the elder of the city, and the elders of that city shall take that man and punish him, and fine him 100 pieces of silver, and give them to the father of the young woman, because he has brought an evil name on a maiden of Israel, and she is to be his wife. He is not allowed to put her away all his days. But if the matter is true, that the girl was not found a maiden, then they shall bring out the girl to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done wickedness in Israel, to whore in her father's house. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. When a man is found lying with a woman married to a husband, then both of them shall die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. Thus you shall purge evil from Israel. When a girl who is a maiden is engaged to a husband, and a man finds her in the city and lies with her, then you shall bring them both out to the gate of that city, and shall stone them to death with stones, the girl because she did not cry out in the city, and the man because he has humbled his neighbor's wife. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. But if a man finds the girl who is engaged in the field, and the man takes hold of her and lies with her, then only the man who lay with her shall die. But you shall do no matter to the girl. The girl has no sin worthy of death. For the matter is like a man who rises against his neighbor and murders him. A being, for he found her in the field, and she cried out, the engaged girl, but without anyone to save her. When a man finds a girl who is a maiden, who is not engaged, and he seizes her and lies with her, and they are found out, then the man who lay with her shall give to the girl's father 50 pieces of silver, and she is to be his wife because he has humbled her. Excuse me. Because he has humbled her, he is not allowed to put her away all his days. A man does not take his father's wife, nor uncover the corner of his father's garment. Chapter 23. He who is wounded by crushing of testicles, or whose penis is cut off, shall not enter into the community of Yahweh. A mamzer shall not enter the community of Yahweh, Even a 10th generation of his shall not enter the community of Yahweh. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter the assembly of Yahweh. Even a 10th generation of them shall not ever enter the assembly of Yahweh, because they did not meet you with bread and water on the way when you came out of Mitzrayim, and because they hired against you Balaam son of Beor from Pethor of Aram Naharaim to curse you. But Yahweh your Elohim refused to listen to Balaam, and Yahweh your Elohim turned the curse into a blessing for you, because Yahweh your Elohim loves you. Do not seek their peace nor their good all your days forever. Do not loathe an Edomite, for he is your brother. Do not loathe a Mitzrite, because you were a sojourner in his land. Where was I? Verse 8. Children of the third generation, born to them, do enter the assembly of Yahweh. When the camp goes out against your enemies, then you shall guard yourself from every evil matter. When there is any man among you who is not clean because of an emission in the night, then he shall go outside the camp. Let him not come into the midst of the camp. And it shall be at the approach of evening, that he bathes with water, and when the sun sets, let him come into the midst of the camp. And you shall have a place outside the camp where you shall go, and you shall have a sharp implement among your equipment. And when you sit down outside, you shall dig with it, and turn and cover your excrement. And Yahweh Elohim walks in the midst of your camp. For Yahweh Elohim walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you and give your enemies over to you. Therefore, your camp shall be set apart, so that he does not see unclean matter, among you, and shall turn away from you. Do not hand over to his master the slave whom has escaped from his master to you. Let him dwell with you in your midst, in the place which he chooses within one of your gates, where it is pleasing to him. Do not oppress him. None of the daughters of Israel is to be a cult prostitute, nor any of the sons of Israel be a cult prostitute. Do not bring the harlot fee of a whore, or pay of a dog to the house of Yahweh your Elohim for any vowed offering, for both these are an abomination to Yahweh your Elohim. Do not lend an interest to your brother, interest of silver, interest of food, or interest of whatever is lent at interest. To a foreigner you lend at interest, but to your brother you do not lend at interest, so that Yahweh Elohim might bless you in all that you put your hand to do in the land which you are entering to possess. When you make a vow to Yahweh your Elohim, do not delay to pay it, for Yahweh your Elohim is certainly requiring it of you, and it shall be sin in you. But when you abstain from vowing, it is not sin in you. That which is gone from your lips you shall guard to do, for you voluntarily vowed to Yahweh your Elohim what you have promised with your mouth. When you come into your neighbor's vineyard, you shall eat to the satisfaction of your desire, but do not put any in a receptacle of yours. When you come into the neighbor's standing grain, you shall pluck the heads with your hand, but do not use a sickle on your neighbor's standing grain. Chapter 24. When a man takes a wife and shall marry her, Then it shall be, if she finds favor in his eyes, because he has found a matter of uncoveredness in her, and he shall write her a certificate of divorce and put it in her hand, and send her out of his house. And if she left his house and went and became another man's wife, and the latter husband shall hate her, and write her a certificate of divorce, and put it in her hand, and send her out of his house, or when the latter husband dies who took her to be his wife, then her former husband who sent her away is not allowed to take her back to be his wife after she has been defiled. For that would be an abomination before Yahweh. And do not bring sin on the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. When a man has taken a new wife, let him not go out into the army, nor let any matter be imposed upon him. He shall be exempt 1 year for the sake of his home, to rejoice with his wife whom he has taken. No one takes in pledge the lower or upper millstone, for he would be taking a life in pledge. When a man is found kidnapping any of his brothers or the children of Israel, and treats him harshly or sells him, then that kidnapper shall die. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. Take heed in an outbreak of leprosy to diligently guard and do according to all that the priests, the Levites, teach you, as I have commanded them. So you shall guard to do. Remember that Yahweh your Elohim did what Yahweh your Elohim did to Egypt on the way when you came out of Egypt. What he did to Miriam on the way when you came out of Egypt. When you lend your brother a loan, do not go into his house to get his pledge. Stand outside and let the man to whom you lend bring the pledge out to you. And if the man is poor, do not sleep with his pledge. By all means, return the pledge to him at sundown, and he shall sleep in his own garment and shall bless you. And it shall be righteousness to you before Yahweh your Elohim. Do not oppress a hired servant who is poor and needy, of your brothers or of your sojourners, who are in your land within your gates. Give him his wages on the same day, and do not let the sun go down on it. For he is poor and lifts up his being to it, so that he does not cry out against you to Yahweh, and it shall be a sin in you. Fathers are not put to death for their children, and children are not put to death for their fathers. Each is to die for his own sin. Do not twist the right ruling of a sojourner or the fatherless, nor take the garment of a widow. But you shall remember that you were a slave in Mitzrayim, and that Yahweh your Elohim ransomed you from there. Therefore I am commanding you to do this word. When you reap your harvest in your field, and have forgotten a sheaf in the field, do not go back to get it. Let it be for the sojourner, for the fatherless, and for the widow, so that Yahweh your Elohim might bless you in all the work of your hands. When you beat your olive trees, do not examine the branch behind you. Let it be for the sojourner and the fatherless, and for the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, do not glean behind you. Let it be for the sojourner and the fatherless, and for the widow. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Mitzrayim. Therefore I am commanding you to do this word. Really interesting stuff here, you guys. In the New Testament, it talks about what righteousness is, what an acceptable offering is Um, and I can't remember the verse, but it says to look after the orphan and the widow, the fatherless and the widow. And I think that these are really practical ways that we do that, right? By by feeding them, by allowing them to glean from your harvest, by giving them a portion from the work of your hands. Put in the comments, one of us, where that verse is. I should find it by the time this is airing for you guys. Chapter 25. What's going on with my camera angle here? Alright. Chapter 25. When there is a dispute between men, then they shall come into judgment, and they shall be judged. And the righteous declared righteous, and the wrongdoer declared wrong. And it shall be, if the wrongdoer is to be struck, that the judge shall cause him to lie down and be struck in the presence with the number of blows according to his wrong. 40 strikes he gives him, but no more, lest he strike him with any more blows than these. And your brother be degraded before your eyes. Do not muzzle an ox while it is threshing. When brothers dwell together, and one of them has died, and has no son, the widow of the dead man shall not become a stranger's outside. Her husband's brother does go in to her, and shall make her as his wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. And it shall be that the firstborn son which he bears does rise up for the name of his dead brother, so that the name is not blotted out of Israel. But if a man does not desire to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name to his brother in Israel. He does not agree to perform the duty of my husband's brother. The elders of his city shall then call him and speak to him, and he shall stand and say, I have no desire to take her. Then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of all the elders, and remove his sandal from his foot, and shall spit in his face, and answer and say, thus it is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. And in Israel his name shall be called the house of him who has his sandal removed. When men fight with one another, a man and his brother and his wife of one shall draw near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one striking him, and shall put out her hand and take hold of him by the genitals. Then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye does not pardon. That's unacceptable. You shall not have in your bag different weights, a heavy and a light. You shall not have in your house different measures, a large and a small. You shall have a perfect and right weight, a perfect and right measure, so that they prolong your days on the soil which Yahweh Elohim is giving you. For all who do these, and all who do unrighteously, are an abomination to Yahweh Elohim. Remember that what Amalek did to you on the way as you were coming out of Mitzrayim, how he met you on the way and attacked your back, all the feeble ones in your rear, and you were tried and weary. And he did not fear Elohim. Therefore it shall be, when Yahweh Elohim has given you rest from your enemies all around, in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance, that you blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens. Do not forget. Chapter 26. And it shall be when you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim has given you as an inheritance, and you possess it and dwell in it, that you shall take some of the first of all the fruits of the soil which you bring from the land that Yahweh your Elohim is giving you, and shall put it in a basket, and go to the place where Yahweh your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there. And you shall come to the one who is priest in those days, and say to him, I shall declare today to Yahweh your Elohim that I have come to the land which Yahweh swore to our fathers to give us. And the priest shall take the basket from the hand and place it before the slaughter place of Yahweh your Elohim. And you shall answer and say before Yahweh your Elohim, my father has a perishing Aramean, and he went down to Mitzrayim and sojourned there with few men, and there he became a nation, great, mighty, and numerous. But the Mitzrites did evil to us, and afflicted us, and imposed hard labor on us. Then we cried out to Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, and Yahweh heard the voice, and saw our affliction, and toil of our oppression. And Yahweh brought us out of Mitzrayim with a strong hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great fear, and with signs and wonders. And he brought us to this place, and has given us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now, see, I have brought the firstfruits of the land which you, O Yahweh, have given me. Then you shall place it before Yahweh your Elohim, and bow down before Yahweh your Elohim, and shall rejoice in all the good which Yahweh your Elohim has given you and your house, you and the Levite and the sojourner who is among you. When you have completed tithing, all the tithe of your increase, one in the third year, which is the year of tithing, and have given it to the Levite, to the sojourner, to the fatherless, and to the widow, and they have eaten within your gates, and have been satisfied, then you shall say before Yahweh your Elohim, I have put away the set apart portion from my house, and also have given it to the Levite, to the sojourner, to the fatherless, and to the widow, according to all your command, which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commands, nor have I forgotten. This is telling you where to give your tithes, okay? To the Levite, to the sojourner, to the fatherless, to the widow, according to all your commands which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commands, nor have I forgotten. I have not eaten any of it when in mourning, nor have I removed any of it for any unclean use, nor given any of it for the dead. I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh my Elohim. I have done according to all that you have commanded me. Look from your set apart dwelling place, from the heavens, and bless your people Israel, and the land which you have given us, as you swore to our fathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. Today Yahweh Elohim is commanding you to do these laws and right rulings, and you shall guard and do them with all your heart and with all your being. You have today caused Yahweh to proclaim to be your Elohim, and to walk in his ways and guard his laws, and his commands and his right rulings, and to obey his voice. And Yahweh has caused you to proclaim today to be his people, a treasured possession, as he has spoken to you, and to guard all his commands, so as to set you high above all nations which he has made for a praise, and for a name, and for esteem, and for you to be a set apart people to Yahweh Elohim, as he has spoken. That's where we're going to stop for today. A little bit shorter of a reading, but I know that most of you guys are getting ready to settle down for Shabbat, and we are as well. Obviously, this is pre-recorded, but anyways, I really appreciate you guys hanging out and following along in your Bibles, and I pray this has been a time that has been edifying for you. I pray that you guys really get refreshed and filled up this Shabbat and spend some time with the Most High and with your families, and just fill your cup and get ready to pour out in the week to come. Bless you guys. I love you. We'll see you next time. Shalom.